Here we go. Hopefully you can see it's all happening now.
Hello and welcome to this webinar. In this webinar, we're going to be learning about Revit templates, View templates specifically, and what they actually do and how you can use them. Hi, my name's Greg Benson-Shettle. I'm one of the very many Autodesk certified instructors here at Greytech, and we're going to be exploring all about Revit View templates. So with our views, very often the out-of-the-box views that we have got, they're presented by the line weights, the line types and the colors as specified by a Revit template. And with different object styles that are created in the Revit template, we get a very standard looking view, unless of course you have tweaked your object styles. So what we're going to be looking at is how we could possibly change the presentation to be able to highlight certain features of interest, to improve the overall presentation style of a 2D or 3D perspective. So in this webinar, we're going to discover how to make a template that can be applied to any view to change its graphical presentation at the click of a button, and include different selection techniques to achieve the visual presentation goals consistently from one project to another and from one user to another. So we're going to look at what the Revit template is, how to create the Revit template, how to change and edit the template, how to use them, and discover the subtle differences between what I call a hard and a soft application. And depending on how time goes, I'll include a bonus tip or two as well. Okay, that's the introduction done. Let's get over and have a look at the live demo. Let's start Revit. Here we are in Revit, and I've got a basic domestic building in front of us, which we're going to take a look at and discover different things that we can do. Now I'm going to pop over to a ground floor plan view, and this is a typical out-of-the-box presentation that we receive. Obviously you can change the level of detail, so we can go medium, and then of course when you go medium you start getting more information about the wall build-ups and things of that nature. And if we go fine, we get further information coming in regarding other elements based upon the family characteristics of level of display. Now I'm going to close this view down and take a look at this ground floor. So in here we can see that all of our walls have now got a grey solid fill throughout them, and there's some other walls that are coloured up in this orange colour. Now these orange coloured walls, these are stud walls, and there's actually two different types of stud walls going on here. One has got a plasterboard finish on both sides, and one has a plasterboard finish on just one side. So how, first of all, did we make these kind of changes? Okay, so let's have a look at some graphical changes and some tools we have here. Now if we select a wall and right click, we'll find we have override graphics in view. Now so that we can apply some graphical changes to all of the walls in one go, we use by category. And when we're also thinking about view templates, now let me just explain the view template, what that is. A view template is a recording of all of the graphical changes that you make. You give it a name, and then you can simply apply those graphical changes to any other Revit views, more or less at a click of a button. And of course that saves a great deal of time, as well as gives you consistency across the drawing, and also consistency from one project to another. So with that in mind, we always need to use the by category override graphic. The view templates cannot record single individual element changes. It can only record by category. So there's your first main note. Make sure that you use by category. So in here, we can see what's going on. So in the cut patterns, we can see that we have a solid fill, and I've applied a grey colour to it. And there we are. So that's how those grey walls work. However, if I just cancel out of here, what about the orange walls? Now, thinking about the orange walls, if I click on here, right click, override graphics by category again, and we look at the cut pattern here, notice that it is still grey. So how come it's becoming orange? Now that is because I've used a different type of graphical change using something called a filter. All right, so if I right click, override graphics in view, and we say by filter, here we can see what's going on. So there's a filter that's been created which is recognizing stud walls. And so providing you can pick up on key elements within a particular family, you can then decide and cherry pick those items. And here we can see that I've got orange lines and I've got an orange cut pattern in there. So that's why we've got this other filter on top, which provides us with this orange color. Okay. And it applies them to all of these other stud walls as well. So what I'd like to be able to do is to be able to create a view template of this style. Now, how do we create view templates? Now, there's a couple of ways. Now, you're thinking about views. So up on the ribbon, if we go to the View tab, over here on the left-hand side, we have a whole panel dedicated to graphics. And you'll see here that you can have access to visibility graphics and filters. And right here, we've got a drop down available for view templates. So we can click on View Templates, and we can say, create view template from current view. And if I click on here, it will ask me to create a name. Now, whilst you can go to the view template here on the View tab, an easier way, or more common way of doing this, would be to have a look over in the project browser, select with a single click the view that you're currently working with, right click the mouse, and you can see that you can have create view template from here as well. So we can click on here and we can give it a name. So let's call this plan, because it's for plan views, and I'll simply call it shaded. So we've now got a name, and when I click on OK, another dialog box will open up. Here it is, and we'll be looking at some of these other aspects on the right hand side a bit later, but for now the only thing we really need to pay attention to is the fact that that new view template is listed here where it says plan shaded. Okay, so we go ahead and click on OK. Okay, we're good to go. So if we go up to our first floor now, here's your basic standard view. Okay, and it's at 1 to 100. You can see all of the details, and I want to apply that view template. Now again, there's two ways of applying the view template. As I mentioned in my introduction, there is what I call a soft and a hard application of the view template. We're going to start off with the soft application, and that is where we apply a view template from the project browser. So we go to our project browser, you select with a single click the view that you want to look at, right click the mouse, and here above the create you can find apply. We click on here, that same dialog box opens up, and we can select plan shaded and go ahead and click OK. And there it is, it's applied it. Now, one little thing I want to talk about here is, notice I've actually got, this is on a medium level of detail. And ordinarily, on a medium level of detail, all of your internal wall features would be showing as well. But they're not doing that. So how have I made that change? If we take a look at the override graphics in view again by category, we've got cut lines, we've got shaded, but that is not why we cannot see these. Let me show you how I hid these. Okay. In the actual wall types, one of the other features that we can go to, if we go up to that view ribbon and we can go to visibility graphics here, and we're going to go down and look at the properties of the wall for this particular view. And if we scroll down, let's find our walls. So here you can see that change that we made for the cut patterns. However, if we expand walls by clicking on the little plus symbol that we have here, look, what we're looking at here is we've got common edges in here. And if we click on here, you can see that what I've done is set the color to be the same color as the shading. So it hides it by using exactly the same color. So you can use this technique as well. So that's how I was able to remove the internal line work, but still keep my level of detail up at medium, so that, for example, I can see things like door panel widths and any other features as well that fit under the medium range. Okay, so we've been able to apply a view filter here, and it's all very nice. However, what if I want to now develop this a bit further? So what we could do, for example, I could click on my furniture, right click, and perhaps I need to see the furniture in there, but it's not quite so important. What we can do instead is I want to make it halftone. So again, I'm going to go override graphics in view by category, and then simply put a tick in this halftone box up here, and go ahead and click apply and do OK. So as you can see, my furniture is now, it's there, we can see the layout, but it's obviously not the important feature for the purpose of this view. Let's go back to our ground floor. And the furniture here looks exactly the same. Okay, now what's going on here? Why is it not updated that view filter? Now this is one of the differences between hard and soft applications. Okay, if I was to come over to the properties palette and we have a look in view templates here, at the moment it says none, even though you know that you've applied it. Similarly, if we look at the first floor where we definitely applied that plan shaded view template, you have a look in the properties palette and here it says view template none. So what's going on? If I click here and actually apply the plan shaded via the properties palette and click OK, you'll notice that the furniture went back to what it was, as I first originally saved it. Now if I try to make that change again, right click, override graphics in view, notice that by category is actually grayed out. I no longer have access to it. And this is one of the differences between the soft application in the project browser and the hard application in the properties palette. So why do you do one over the other? When we use the soft application via the project browser, this is the ideal method for when you're developing your presentation styles, because you still have the freedom to make further changes by category. Now, once you have established presentation styles that you really, really like, and they're totally suitable for the purpose of the view, whether it's a plan view, an elevation view, a section view, a detail view, whatever it may be, those view templates can become part of your Revit template, so that from one job to the next, from one user to the next, you will have a set of company standards of how different types of views can be presented for the different purpose of that view. So that gives you the consistency from view to view, from project to project, and from user to user. So this is a really key area to develop, and it makes your life an awful lot quicker in developing your presentation packages. So there's the key differences between the hard and the soft application and how we generally create a view template. But let's take this a little bit further, shall we? Now, in here, what we could also do is I want to make some further changes. Now, I'm going to just close the 3D view down for a moment. I'm going to tile these so that we have both open at the same time. And I want to make some further changes. Now, this is got a scale of 1 to 100 at the moment, and also the grid lines are very dominant. So those are two things that I'd like to change, so that when I'm looking at a small building such as a house, we have a presentation style for this. Now then, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to click in my ground floor, in my view template, I'm going to apply plan shaded. We go ahead and apply it, and we do OK. So now both of these have got, via the properties palette, view template, plan shaded, applied. Okay. So I'd like to make some further changes, and here's one of the another advantage of using the properties palette as well. If I go in here and I select plan shaded, we have this banner area over here, and there's several things that we can do. Now, first of all, the scale. I would actually like this to be a 1 to 50 scale instead. All right. So we can change the scale in the view template. What else could we do? Now, thinking about the grids, which are an annotation element. So where it says VG, visibility graphic override, click on edit, and I'm going to scroll down and look for grids. There's grids, there they are. Also, if you've got the very latest version of Revit, including all the updates, I could actually use this very useful category search, and if I type in here grid, it makes life so much easier to find. So all I'm going to do is click on halftone. So I'm going to knock back the visibility like I did with the furniture earlier for these. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and click apply and OK. And did you notice in the background here, over here, all right, those have become grey straight away. Now, what else would I like to change on here? Also, I would like to have the furniture grayed out as well. So those are model elements. So let's go into VG overrides for the model. And we'll find our furniture. There's our furniture. And again, I'm going to put the halftone in here as well. We click apply. And instantly you can see that the furniture in the background there has grayed out. So I'm going to do OK. And those are the changes that I've made. And I'm going to click on apply. Now this time when I clicked on apply, the scale changed as well. It's gone down to the 1 to 50. It didn't do it before because the apply buttons were regarding these specific overrides. So that's why the 1 to 50 that I changed first of all didn't apply, because it wasn't until I applied the whole thing. We can do OK. So now we've got a whole new finish here. They're 1 to 50s. We've grayed these out. The furniture's grey, and you've got that total control. Okay. So obviously very powerful, very, very useful, and very quick to apply a particular presentation style to any of your views. Now, let's take a look at some other changes that you could make and look at things from, well, starting from scratch. Now, I'm going to go back to a single view here. And I want to do an internal section or internal elevation style view. So in here, I'm just going to run a section through the kitchen here. That's going to be looking out through this garden room area. So I'll grab my section tool. And I'm going to draw a section through like so. The view range has come up to here, which is just fine. I'm going to restrict it on the sides here and here. That looks good. And then we go ahead. We have a new area, obviously a new section that's appeared. I'm going to just go to that section by double clicking on the head of the section. And there it is. So it's very busy. Very busy indeed. So we're going to limit this as well. So I'm going to bring the bottom up. We'll bring the top down. We'll make some other changes. Let's make this a 1:50 as well. So in here, there's a number of things that I really want to change to improve this. First of all, we've got some sections coming through here. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say hide in view again by category. So that's cleaned those out. Now looking at the view, we've got cabinetry here, we've got chairs and things. Perhaps I might want to make it shaded. Yeah, we could do that if we wanted to, if that's kind of the design appearance that you're looking for. However, I'm just going to go back to hidden line. Now, first of all, we have these walls in the background, and it's very, very flat. So I want to give some depth to this. So if I select these mullions, right click, all these transoms here, I'm going to go override graphics in view by category, halftone those, do apply and OK. And so clearly we can see those are in the background. We've got some windows here which I need to do the same thing too. Override graphics in view by category, halftone those, and I've got a door in here. I need to do the same with that. Override graphics by category, halftone, and apply and OK. What else could we do? I'm thinking about I'd like to have some kind of glazed colour. So I'm going to pick up on the panels this is a curtain wall. I'm going to pick up on these panels, right click, override graphics in view by category. Now I'm going to give it a solid fill. I'm then going to apply a colour. I'm going to apply this cyan colour, which is not a great colour, obviously. However, if I click on apply, you can see what it does. But I'm also going to give it a surface transparency here. So let's give this about 80% transparency and do apply. And now it's a much softer colour and it's not so bad. Let's see if I can make some changes to these. Now, there's a feature regarding here. I don't want to spend too long on this one. I'd have to go into the actual family for these to make the changes on this one. But to make sure that the glazing is the same type of glazing and things of that nature. And I don't want to waste your time looking at those sorts of features. We have, I think that will do for now. I'm just going to do a quick little, we've got some levels and things here that are not of interest but for the purpose of this view. So again, I could hide those as well. So hide in view by category. And just tidy up this view. And I could decide to either keep these grid lines in or again remove them. For the purpose of the training, exercise we're going through, I'm just going to go override graphics, and we'll make those halftone. Notice I've got a slightly smaller box in this view. Okay, so there's a new style of presentation, and we're going to create a view template. On this occasion, just so you can see how it works, from the view ribbon, I'm going to go to the view templates drop down here and click on create template from view. I'm not going to bother saving this at the moment. Give this a name. So this is a section view. So I'm going to call it section shaded, and we can do OK. And there it appears, and we can click OK. Done. Right, and close this section 9 down. Now I'd like to apply that same style of presentation to an elevation. So I'm going to open up, let's open up the east elevation, which looks like this. And then we can go ahead and apply that view template. Now I'm going to do a soft application here, so right click in the project browser, apply template, and I'm going to choose that section shaded, and we do OK. So there it is. Now of course this is an elevation. These mullions are now in the foreground, not in the background. So we select these, right click the mouse, override graphics in view by category. We will untick the halftone to apply. OK. And look, where we set the glazing there to be transparent, we can actually see some of the furniture features through the glazing, which is really quite nice. OK. So I'm going to say that that is done, and I'm now going to save this as a new template. So template, create view template, and of course this is an elevation. So this will be elevation shaded. And we click OK. And there it is saved. And we click OK again. Now here's the thing, we have a number of different templates now created, and in our project I want to be able to apply those view templates across a broad range of different views. So for example, what we could do here, over in the project browser, I could select, for example, east, hold the shift key down, select west, and it's actually selected all of these elevations. And either as a soft application, I could right click and say apply view templates, or as a company standard, I could come over to the properties palette in here, and then I can choose elevation shaded. We do apply, we do OK. So without even opening these, we have indeed applied those view templates. And if I just close this down for a moment, if we open up perhaps the north elevation, here we can see that we've got those transparent areas, and it's all looking the way that you'd expect it to. So we can apply on bulk. And if we look at, say, the west elevation here as well, we can see we can apply on bulk our view templates. There we are, view templates. How they work, how you create them, and how you can apply them, and the difference between the hard and soft applications. Well, I hope that you found that useful, and I think we've just about got time to give you a bonus tip. How did I create those filters? How did we create the filters? Let's find out. So we'll go back to perhaps our ground floor. So these have got a filter applied to them. Now you can up on the view area here, you can go to filters, and here we can see we've got this one called stud wall. So when you want to apply a filter, it's actually a bit of a two-part job. We create a filter that is going to identify certain types of families that meet certain qualities, and then we apply a override graphic using that particular filter. So let's have a look here. Let's say, for example, in here we've got stud walls. So I clicked on new to create a new filter. You then select in this list, the next part is you go down and you think about the category that you want to create a filter on. So in this case I put a tick in walls. Now when you do that, you come over to this third area and walls will be in there. Now you could, if you click on the drop down, you'll see all of these different parameters that are associated to walls. Now on this occasion I've chosen function. Now that is actually a bit overkill in this case because I don't actually need it, but I wanted to show you that you could pick elements by their function, and then once you choose the parameter to search for, you then have these Boolean style operators here. So equals, not equals to, contains, for example. So in this case I've said equals interior, so I don't want it to pick up any of the exterior walls. I want it to focus on the interior only. Now I don't really need that on this occasion because here I've chosen a very specific parameter which is called a type mark. Okay, a type mark, and I'm looking for it to contain the letters WS. Now that's not equals to, because my stud walls contain a type mark that's a WS 50, and there's another one which is WS 50S. Okay, so it's just looking for a part of the name, and if it fulfills that criteria, then it's going to be able to pick up on those walls. Okay, so you create the filter first in this fashion, and you can click on apply. Now just to show you this, I'm actually going to change this from type mark to comment. Okay, so I'm going to be changing it here, and I'm going to look up comment, and on this occasion I'm going to say look for the word stud. So this is like I'm creating a new filter. When I go ahead and click on apply, or maybe it was description. You see, they're no longer orange, so I must have done description instead rather than comments. And I'll do apply. Look, it's back. So in the description field in the identity data, I've actually put the word stud. Let's go and have a look at that. So if I select one of these walls, we go to edit type. Here there is. Look. So I've added a couple of unique identifiers, and that's what the filters can pick up on. So I could choose either one of these, it wouldn't matter. And I mentioned where it said contains, so it's looking for WS 50, what we were looking at before. And if I choose one of these outside walls, and we have a look at here, you see this one is WS 50S because it's got plasterboard on a single side only. So once you have a filter created, you can go ahead and you would pick on a wall, right click, override graphics in view by filter, and then the filters that you've got will be listed. And then over in these tools here, you can then decide how you want them to look. Yeah. So you can look at patterns and you can change these. All right, I'll go edit. There's the stud wall. There's the equals. So you can always go in and change these as well. Okay. Now you may notice if I click, here we go, I'm clicking on this, it's not letting me make any changes. So why is it not letting me make the changes that I've indicated that you can do? It's because I've got a filter. I've got a view filter applied to this. And once you have a view filter applied to a particular view, everything is locked up. So if I just cancel out of here for a moment, click off to deselect there, down in the properties palette over here again where it says plan shaded, if I set this back to none, so we've got one of the view templates is actually called none, and I try that again, right click, override graphics in view by filter. Now if I click on here, you can see that I can then make any changes. So I could choose a hatch pattern or a fill region pattern of some other description, or perhaps I want to change the color. So I'm going to make them green instead. Okay. And I'll make that line work green as well. We do OK. We do apply. There you go. You can see instantly in the background there. That has happened. Right, that has happened. And if I take a look up on the first floor, these are still orange. Why are they still orange? It's because I would have needed to have updated the master template to make that happen. Yeah, so plan shaded. So to illustrate how we did that in a master version, we can come here, okay, plan shaded. It's a model element, isn't it? So if we go to VG overrides, click on edit, up here you got filters, and look, it's still on orange as the master plan for this. And of course I can click in here and I can make those changes. There we are. So that's how you can actually make filters where you can be very specific and pick out certain families that you'd like to have some special application made to them for your presentation views, your final presentations. There we are. So hopefully that has given you a few nuggets and a few ideas about how you can change or improve or filter out and change your presentation styles. So thank you very much. And now it is question time. So we'll pause and we'll take a look. Please feel free to use the Q&A and the chat to ask any questions, and I'll do my very best to answer them. Or if you can think of, if you have a question that comes up afterwards, please feel free to drop me a line at greg.benson-shettle@greatech.com. And if you'd like to connect with me on LinkedIn, I would be very pleased to see you there as well. Okay, so let's take a look at the questions. So just see if anybody's got any questions. If you have anything, please feel free to use the Q&A and the text box in there. One additional aspect is if you've created view templates in one project and you want to be able to use them in another project, then how can you share those view templates that you've created and share them off in another project? Now, I'm going to share my screen very quickly. And then hopefully you'll be able to see this. So I'm going to go share screen, push on this button. Let's find out.
And that one there, share. Right. So here's that project. Now, if you do need to, you created a whole series of view templates. What you can then do is if you open up another project, now it could be a brand new project or an existing project. So I'm just going to go File, New, Project, and choose one. So this is the blank project. So we've got two projects open. We've got the project that contains the view templates. Yeah, so if I change this to all, okay, so let's have a look. So we'd have the two view templates in here. And if you go to Manage and you're looking for Transfer Project Standards, you click on Transfer Project Standards. You'll then click on Check None. And one of the elements within a project that you can transfer from one project to another is indeed view templates. Okay, like so. So you can put a tick in here, click on OK, and it will load up those view templates that you've created in that new project. Now, if I just do that for a second, just to show you this button, you probably don't want to overwrite any existing ones. So instead, you'd click on the new ones only. And therefore, any of those view templates that you've set up will then be available in your new project. Or of course, you could have opened up your view, your Revit template, and then so that you can create those actually in your template, so they're available for brand new projects as well. There we are. Let's just see if there's if there's been any other questions that have come in. Right. Okay. Thank you very much. I hope you found that useful and you're able to go away with a few nuggets of information that you can apply in the projects that you're working on. So with that, thank you very much. Have a good Friday and an even better weekend, perhaps. All the very best. Take care. Bye-bye.